Hi everyone, and welcome to another kit review with myself, Tom and Harry. Today we're looking at these, the Leupold BXT HD 10x42 binoculars. They're from Leupold, distributed here in England through Viking Arms. We've had these for a couple of weeks now. We were sent these to give them a bit of a test, and I mean I feel slightly guilty doing this review because I mean they're not something that either of us were particularly fond of, to be honest. I mean, we felt that they were probably fine as a pair of sort of day binoculars, and the sort of clarity on them is okay. In the left-hand ocular is a sort of crosshair type thing, which for us deer stalking not particularly helpful. And I found sort of two other problems with it. The first one is that, of course, the crosshairy thing is flat and level if the binoculars are flat and level and the bridge isn't adjusted. But the minute you adjust the bridge to the shape of your face, that crosshair is then not straight. So actually you can't really use it to measure a huge amount unless you then twist the binoculars, which it just didn't really seem that well thought through. It sort of felt like it was a function or a feature they'd added without much thought, really. And then neither of us could get the focus. If you focus the binoculars on whatever you were looking at, the crosshair was then out of focus, and there is a little dial here that you can supposedly pull up to then adjust the focus of that crosshair, but neither of us could quite get that right for our eyes.
Yeah.
Fair?
Yeah, I mean, I actually think the clarity of them is quite good.
Yeah.
I think the glass is quite good quality, but it's really let down by the adjustments, which I could never really get to seem to focus very well. Partly I think because there's not an easy adjustment for each ocular.
Yeah.
Or not one that I could find how you adjust each of the. But like there's this pull-out thing, like Tom was saying, that we think's for focusing the crosshairs, you know, adjacent to the in respect of the actual focus of the binoculars. But in terms of, like, you know, if you've got one eye out, which I do,
yeah,
you can't, as far as I can work out, adjust one of them. So, you know, you're looking through them and it's always, one is a bit blurry. So really let down like that. And also, like you say, the crosshair thing it just does not work for deer stalking. No. And I dare say it doesn't really work for, like, maybe if you're doing PRS or something like that, but the fact that you can't adjust to the angle that it sits at, seems
you're going to be on like the wonk with your binoculars.
Yeah,
to try and...
if you're like that or like that, then you're fine. But if you've got a smaller face and you're sort of, like you say, more adjusted, then it's constantly on the angle. We'll put a little a photo of it in so you can see what we're talking about. But we just really couldn't get it to work.
No.
And the other thing is, I find them a little bit like sort of cheap feeling and a bit plasticky, to be honest. Like they're clearly like foam. You know, the sort of plastic moulding. You can see there's, like, you know, all sort of bits of they just don't feel like quality binoculars.
Which, I mean, they're 650 quid.
Yeah.
So they're not a cheap pair of binoculars.
No.
And again, I was saying to Harry earlier, I used to have some Vortex binos, the Razorback ones, I think they were the cheapest, which you can get for about 200 or 300 quid. And I would say they both felt better. And yeah, yes, the clarity on them possibly wasn't quite as good as these, but isn't far off. And yeah, I think if you want a cheap, small, compact pair of binoculars to chuck in a harness and drag around whilst you're out deer stalking, I'd probably go for the Vortex ones. I
think so. I think they're trying to be, I mean, maybe these aren't aimed at deer stalkers, clearly, but I think they're trying to be a bit too tactical, maybe. If you're a deer stalker, I would personally go for a set of Vortex, or second-hand, something good.
Yeah.
You know, you can get a decent pair of second-hand binoculars for that money.
Yeah.
From one of the big, Leicas or something like that. You could probably get some decent ones. So yeah, I'm afraid we didn't really like them very much. To be fair to them, if you're on the range or something like that, then maybe they're clearly aimed at maybe that market a bit more. So maybe we aren't being particularly fair, but we just didn't really like them, I'm afraid.
No.
So yeah.
Sorry.
That's our assessment. But thank you very much for joining us. We've got some other bits of Leupold kit to review in the future, so keep your eyes peeled for those videos. And do leave us your comments, like and subscribe. We'll catch you on the next one.